Hello, Miami, and what is up? And once again, thank you so much for watching 305 Sports Now YouTube edition. I am your host, Will. And if you can tell from the title, it was a very tough week for the weekend for the Miami Hurricanes, as about a few of the commitments that they were hoping to get, ended up going to different teams, and one of them decided to postpone his commitment. All right. So the first one I want to talk about, and I'm just going to brush over him quickly because I want to save him for last, is Malik Bryant. Malik Bryant was expected to be a shoe-in, all right, for the Canes, and celebration. Everything seemed ready as he even announced on Twitter that he was going to commit on the 23rd of July at 5 p.m. And that commitment did not happen, as Malika decided to postpone his commitment with reasons that we're still trying to find out about, right, and so on. But I'm going to save Malik for last. I'm going to break down why I think he may have postponed his commitment. I still think Miami's in the race to get him. I don't think that he's thinking about another team super consistently, but I do think there is another team in the mix, and I'm going to go over that team and break down why I think they're in the mix and why they've nipping at the Miami Hurricanes' heels. But the number one thing I want to talk about is Finnish offensive lineman out of Windsor, Connecticut, left tackle Olaus Alinan, right? The left tackle, 6'6", 315 pounds. All right. Miami was expected to get him. That was one of the Miami's top prizes. The Hurricanes looking to rebuild their offensive line, and that was something that they wanted to do, and they were hoping to get some more additions to the O line. Guys like Francis Maigoa, okay, and so on, and Antonio Tripp and Frankie Tina-Lau, and so on were great additions. They wanted to continue to beef up the O line and continue to once again build talent and acquire as much talent as possible, but Nick Saban, my friend, was not going to lose any more players to Mauro Cristobal, and as a matter of fact, wanted to take players from Mauro Cristobal, and actually does in this case, as Olaus Alinan will play and block for the Crimson Tide, all right, for the next 3 to 4 years of his eligibility at the NCAA level. As Olaus Alinan, who, like I said, is a big guy, left tackle. He's a top player in Connecticut, right? The number one ranked player in the state of Connecticut. And he's pretty good at pass protection, okay? So one of the things I noticed that he's quick on his feet, and he's good at protecting the quarterback's blind side, which is a very big thing for Saban. Okay, so it's one of the things that he wants to do. Bill O'Brien was heavily on the recruiting trail for Olaus, and Olaus decided to go with Bill O'Brien and Nick Saban and assist the Crimson Tide on trying to get back into the national championship picture. So it's a great pickup for the Crimson Tide. Sad for the Canes, as one of the things that Mauro Cristobal and Alex Mirabal want to do is beef up and build that offensive line. They are looking for physical, nasty guys, and that's what they want to do with this recruitment. Okay, and one of the toughest ones, he was kind of a tug and pull, right? Wasn't as big a surprise as Olaus going to Alabama, is Jonel Aguero, right? Jonel Aguero is the safety, pretty much one of the top safeties in the country. He's the third best safety in the United States, nationally speaking. All right. He's the second best safety in the state of Massachusetts. All right. Jonel, looking at his highlight film, is absolutely nasty. Okay. He's a guy that can hit hard. He's actually been a two-way player. Okay. He's actually played wide receiver for his school in Massachusetts, and he's also but mostly played safety as well at the strong position. Great open field tackler. All right. That's something that Georgia is going to greatly enjoy. Okay. The Bulldogs, love their defensive backfield, and he's a very good defensive back. So we're going to see him pretty much excel at that position. And he's going to be a wonderful find for Kirby Smart and his team. I think that, Miami couldn't seal the deal because, Georgia being the national champion had a heads up, had a leg up over the Canes. All right. And Jamil Adado is a great recruiter. Almost closed that deal, right? He wasn't expected to come to the Canes early on. Okay. I think Alabama was in the mix as well. But Jonel in general decides to go over to the national championship and the Georgia Bulldogs, which makes, again, for business wise, it makes perfect sense. Okay. Why? Because Will Muschamp is a D coordinator over there, and he's a defensive specialist over there. And he loves, he's a very good recruiter. All right. And Kirby Smart is a defensive minded coach. So I think Jonel was going to trust his instincts and go with the defensive minded team more so than the Miami Hurricanes, who are, though, very tough and physical. Mauro Cristobal is more on the offensive side of the ball, former offensive coordinator, former offensive line coach, and a big guy when it comes to the offensive line. And whenever he's coached his football teams, whether it's FIU, whether it's Oregon, and now the Miami Hurricanes. Okay, so that's a little bit about Joe now. All right, so the one guy that we were trying to get is also another guy named Peyton Kirkland. Okay, Peyton Kirkland out of Dr. Phillips, Orlando, also plays left tackle. Right, also plays left tackle. A big guy. All right, in many of his highlights, pretty much overpowered his opponents because of his size at 6'6". Okay, as well. All right, about 6'6", 345 is Peyton Kirkland. Kid is a monster. All right, he still has a senior year to play. All right, and he's that big. So but Peyton Kirkland was a surprise for everybody because the battle was between Michigan State, okay, Michigan State, Mel Tucker, and so on, really pushing to get this kid in his program. And I could understand why, as Michigan State runs a pro-style offense with heavy emphasis on running the football, which would fit the size and speed of Peyton Kirkland. He decides to go with Texas. Miami did get in the mix there, right? It was a little bit of a tug and pull. Having an offensive line coach minded, and a guy like Mario Cristobal and a pit bull like Alex Mirabal gives the Hurricanes a bit of credibility in terms of development for offensive linemen. But he went with Texas. Texas was a huge surprise, all right? To give 247 Sports his credit, they nailed it, all right? They had a feeling that he was going to go to Texas the day of Saturday, when most analysts had him going to Michigan State, all right? But he ends up picking Texas. When interviewed by Andrew Ivins over at 247 Sports, he pretty much explained why, and he loved the way that Texas was pushing to recruit him. He liked the way that Steve Sarkisian runs his program. But I think the number one reason why Mr. Kirkland is going to Texas is, yes, you guessed it, the number one recruit in the country is going to Texas, and that's Arch Manning, okay, of the Manning fame, all right? Arch Manning is the top recruit in the country and also top quarterback in the country. And if he is able to protect the blind side of Arch Manning, if he's able to take that role, if in the future, if he decides to go to the NFL, which I think he will, all right, he could be a top pick. Why? Because Arch Manning, being a great quarterback, if he's able to protect his blind side, limit his sacks, that makes him a very attractive prospect for the National Football League. So that's why I think that Mr. Kirkland, or Peyton Kirkland, decided to go with Texas and not Miami, or not even Michigan State, because the fact that he saw the fact that it's a good opportunity, that they really wanted him. It's a good opportunity to be the left tackle that protected, the top quarterback in the country. So if Arch Manning has a successful college career, it's only going to make Peyton Kirkland's stock go higher on draft day. So very smart move, I will say, for Peyton. Okay, I do believe that that this is a good move for him. I would have loved to see him as a Cane. In the end, if he ends up protecting Tyler Van Dyke and then Jake Garcia, it's still a good move for him, because he'll be, pretty much protecting some really good quarterbacks, all right, the Miami Hurricanes, have on their roster. But the bottom line is, and figuratively speaking, he's thinking, if he coming in with Arch Manning, and as a sophomore coming with Arch Manning and so on, he gets automatic playing time. We're gonna see, as a freshman, we're gonna see, pretty much that tandem grow together and get drafted together as well. Maybe not the same team, all right, but they will be in the same draft class if all else, if they're successful. Okay. All right, so let's go into the elephant in the room, and that is Malik Bryant. All right, Malik Bryant shocked everybody today in the recruiting world, in the sports world, and the podcasting world, and the YouTube world, with the fact that he decided to postpone his commitment. Every single recruiting site, from Rivals to 247, had Malik Bryant as a shoo-in for the Miami Hurricanes. All right, something happened. We don't know what it is that made Malik Bryant want to postpone his commitment. All right, as a Hurricane fan, I'm concerned, because I believe that these recruits kind of know where they're going, and when they're announced recruitment dates, they kind of already know whom they're gonna pick. All right, the rest is just a ceremony. Like if you look online, you can see what Aguero was doing, what Kirkland was doing as well. But the bottom line is that what kind of freaks me out is the fact that Florida has become a major player. All right, Florida at the moment is really trying to nip at Miami's heels. All right, and Billy Napier wants this kid. Who doesn't want this kid? He's like a top 5 linebacker in the country. He's already built for college football. All right, he's already built for college football. And his statistics prove it. Right? He's played at 2 successful schools, especially IMG, which is a pipeline for college football, is a pipeline for the NFL as well. All right. So we're seeing, pretty much this kid be courted by all these teams. All right. So what happened to this? Okay. Why is it that I think that Florida has become a major player? His assistant coach believes that he'll be better suited for a 3-4 system. Why? Because he'll be able to chase the quarterback a little bit more. All right. Miami's going to run a 4-2-5. All right. It's going to run a similar system that it had under Manny Diaz, except Kevin Steele will use his personnel probably better than Manny Diaz was doing. Now, Kevin Steele is one of the top D coordinators in the country. All right. Has been successful in various teams. So Kevin Steele will use his personnel to the best of their strengths. All right. But what the 4-2-5 means is that they're more than likely going to keep the old striker position that was held by Manny Diaz. That's currently held by Gilbert Frierson. All right, as well. And in other circles was held by Amari Carter. All right, was playing the role of striker as well. Basically a hybrid between a linebacker and a defensive back, a safety, and so on. All right. That's not going to be an issue. My personal opinion, Malik could thrive in a 4-2-5 easily. He's that good of a player. He's that good of a player in tackling in space. Right? He's that good of a player in chasing down quarterbacks. He's that good of a player in setting his edges. He's that good of a player in fighting off blocks. And he's that good of a player in stopping the run, right? And setting his edges. Nothing could stop Malik Bryant from contributing into any system that he so desires. All right. I think that Malik could do it. But I think that the comfortability of a 3-4, making him pretty much a hybrid end, is something that seems attractive to him. Patrick Toney, who's the co-defensive coordinator at Florida, has been, pretty much making those calls. In the end, I do think Malik will be a Cane, right? He's shown a lot of interest in the Canes, all right? A lot of these pundits, have been right, when it comes to players picking teams in terms of predictability. So I do think that in the end, Malik Bryant will be a Miami Hurricane, all right? But I do believe there is a cause for concern because I do believe the Florida Gators are a close second. I don't think they're as far behind as they once were before, all right? But this really changes nothing, okay? This doesn't change the fact that what happened this weekend, that Mario Cristobal has been pretty much a top recruiter and proven to be a top recruiter across the country. Okay. Miami is currently seen as on 247 Sports as 11th. And some, like I said, in some circles, they're ranked 8th. All right. That depends on what composite or what site you're looking at. But Miami is still in very good shape. And Miami has done very well in recruiting. And Miami's still in the mix for some of the top players still in high school that are remaining for their commitments. I'm gonna get into those players, okay, when Malik makes his decision. Okay, so I'm gonna do a special YouTube edition and probably a full-blown podcast on Spotify when Malik makes that decision, in which I'm also gonna break down guys that Miami's in the mix for but have not committed yet. All right, so that's still coming up. All right, I haven't forgotten that yet. But the bottom line is that Miami is still in the mix, and this is the Cristobal factor. The fact is Miami's putting a lot of money into its program, okay, and it's beginning to show with new facilities being built. It's putting a lot of money into its coaching staff. All right, Cristobal is an $8 million a year head coach, and his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator aren't cheap either. All right, and recruits are seeing this. Okay, despite the fact the turnover chain is gone, that's irrelevant. All right, recruits are seeing that Miami is working its way to get back, be competitive with some of the top programs like Alabama and Georgia and Texas as well. So we're seeing a resurgence of the U. All right. So Miami's in good shape. And some of these kids that have said no to the Canes to go to different schools a few years ago may have not even had Miami's hat on the table. All right. So Miami's in good position that they're calling the attention of some of the top recruits in the country, some of the best players as well. So all right, it's still a long recruiting session. These kids aren't fully committed until they sign the dotted line in December or January. But the fact is that Miami is in. I do believe Malik will pick Miami, okay, over Billy Napier in Florida. I'd be surprised if he puts on the Gator hat, to be honest with you, because everything has been trending Canes. All right, but for whatever reason, he decided to postpone his commitment. If he's reevaluating the personnel that Florida wants to put together in comparison with the personnel that Miami wants to put together, it's perfectly fine. It's his future. It's his decision. But I do in the end believe, all right, that Malik Bryant will be sporting the U, all right, in a couple of years from now, all right, for the for the class of 2023, right? He will be flashing at you, okay? He will be sporting the Canes helmet, and he will be, pretty much putting on paper having the best linebacker core since DJ Williams and John Vilma, with Raul Aguirre, Wesley Basang, and Malik Bryant. All right, everybody, that's up for me. If you like, that's all for me. That's all for me. Not what's up for me. That's all for me. Okay, so if you like what you heard, please hit the like and subscribe button so we keep growing the show. All right, if you want to leave a comment, just leave them below. Right, I'll be glad to answer you, as I've been answering all my comments. Right, everybody, that's it for me. Once again, it's 305 Sports Now, YouTube edition. I am Will. Be safe and God bless.